Oh, here's Frank.
Okay, then we'll start.
Yeah, we're 7 o'clock.
Let me just admit 2 more people, and then I'm just going to start the streaming. Doesn't like to start until the exact moment.
All right, I on my screen an email to Fran Lawley from Barbara Datchenhausen Gallagher and Kevin Gallagher. It's dated April 23, 2020. It says, to whom it may concern, my property is next to 37 Old Route 7 Brookfield, Connecticut site. I have several concerns about having more multifamily units next to us. We already had 3 condo buildings near us on Laurel Hill Road. Since these condo units have been built, we have had more people hanging around outside, sitting in the cars and turn around, smoking, etc., all hours of the day and night. People having their dogs run loose all over my yard, etc. This makes us very uncomfortable having this many people hanging around near our home and even wandering into our backyard and endangering our privacy. We've actually had to go out of our back slider door and ask them to leave the property. This has happened on numerous occasions. We are concerned what this will do to our property value. I'm concerned about how close they were considered to build these multi-unit buildings and if they had plans to do blasting. I had enough damage done to my ceilings and walls due to the blasting that was done for the new Route 7 extension to the Milford, Connecticut. We do not need a repeat performance of that nightmare. My well is in front of the house, not too far from my driveway. I'm concerned about this because if there's blasting, it can close off my water source, dry it up, or change the water course. We can't afford this to happen. There's wetlands nearby and should be another consideration because in the back of both Scalzo's property and mine, it's important for the wetlands to remain the wetlands. I oppose the building of these multifamily units because we believe there's an overwhelming amount of population density already in the immediate area and other reasons stated above. Also, I had talked with Paul Scalzo a year ago. He told me he was thinking about building 2 or 3 houses, not multifamily buildings. The difference in building a 12 multifamily unit rather than 3 homes is the multifamily units invite a transient population rather than homeowners who set down their roots. Signed, Barbara Gallagher and Kevin Gallagher. And then there was pictures attached, which will be on record at the Brookfield Building Department. Fran, are those online too, since people can't get in?
I'm not sure if they are. I'm not sure if Nina put them online or not. I would have to
Okay,
check.
do people have access to be able to at least see them if they call?
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, perfect.
The pictures, yes, are on the zoning packet that I think can be downloaded.
And the public gets can see that?
Oh, yeah. It's everything's,
Okay.
yeah.
All right, perfect. So everything's online. And then I have received an email from Ralph Tedesco on April 22, 2020. Steve, I took this picture today in Old Route 7. The area in front of the new condos is low and needs to be raised. A little trap water, you have puddles in front of the new homes. To incorporate this into your design, a few grades may need to be taken. Sorry about the bad picture. And then there's the picture of that. Does anybody else see any other notice or memorandums that I missed?
Yeah, there's a second letter from the Gallaghers, and there's something from the Planning Commission.
Can you read both of those, Mary?
Sure thing. Okay, it was undated, but it refers to the previous letter that you just read as the earlier letter. So this is since April 23rd from the Gallaghers. Attached are photos of the current Laurel Hill apartment complex, the view from our property, and the no trespassing sign we had to put up. We've witnessed the increased population density brought about by these 3 huge apartment complexes that begin about 450 feet from our property. As covered in our earlier letter to you, we are extremely concerned with the effect this has had on our property values. It is our understanding the management of the Laurel Hill apartments do not allow smoking in these rentals. People from these apartments are down near our home at all hours of the day and night. Police have been called because persons unknown to us have been in our equipment yard. We've had to post no trespassing sign, which is predominantly displayed. We now are forced to stay in our home or close to it after dark for our own safety because we do not know who might be in our equipment yard. This is the result of the 3 massive rental units so close to us. The outcome for us is a decrease in our ability to enjoy the use of our own property. We feel very strongly that the management of the Laurel Hill apartments should designate a smoking area for the people who rent there so they are not down near our home at all hours. We would also stipulate this be the case with the current application if and when these become rentals. Not only are the renters down near our property, but this area now has become a favorite place for people to sit in their cars up and down our road. Some are talking on the phone, eating lunch, cars with 2 or more people just sitting doing whatever for an hour or more. There are also town workers with their trucks and trucks from various utilities, UPS and FedEx. Usually the trucks are here during lunchtime. This is a recent development and started soon after the 3 large rental units went in. We are greatly concerned about having another 12 units right on top of us. While Mr. Scalzo can build on his property, he may have a serious problem selling these units because of the above reasons. If he cannot sell these units, it will become rentals and further exacerbate the existing problem caused by the high density of rentals already here. While Mr. Scalzo has the right to develop the property, he doesn't have the right to build in such a way that affects negatively on our property values, our ability to use our property, and if need be, the ability to sell our property at a fair market price. We strongly feel if these 12 units are built as proposed, we will be forced to sell our property and cut our losses. We appeal you to act as though each of you live here on Old Route 7, to act in a manner of thoughtful development of the immediate area while protecting the value of the properties already here. More importantly, we will have to literally live with the results of the decisions made by this commission. Warm regards, Kevin and Barbara Gallagher. And then from the Planning Commission to us, Zoning Commission, from Diane K. Eng, Land Use Administrative Assistant on behalf of the Planning Commission, dated April 27th, 2020. Please be advised that at the regular meeting of the Planning Commission held on April 23rd, 2020, the commission discussed the above captioned application, which is the one we're discussing now, Z-20-21. Below is an excerpt from the meeting. It was part 3 in their old business, part B for them. 37 Old Route 7, Z-20-21, 12-unit multifamily residential project. Present on behalf of the applicant was S. Sullivan, P.E., Caraccio, Colville and Associates, LLC. At the last meeting, S. Sullivan had outlined the proposal and stated that he had consulted with the commission's prior request to add its requisite blasting language in the plan. A discussion ensued among commissioners as Bruce McDonald requested that the grass median be removed in order to pave the road with curbing and a cul-de-sac, noting that the driveway is shown as wider than the road. His concern was rooted in safety, as he is concerned that a large fire vehicle would not be able to access the site. Ralph Tedesco reminded the commission of the applicant's proposal to leave the median as a landscape feature. He also stated he believed there was not adequate room for a cul-de-sac and felt that a fire truck could navigate a turn since the road was wide enough. The chairman clarified with Mr. Tedesco that he supported the idea of using the median as a park as proposed on the plan. He does. The chairman's concern was that the development maintains the character of the adjacent town center district area. Though per Alice Dew, this property is located in the town center district perimeter zone. It will have sidewalks and lighting as the TCD. A motion was made by Bruce McDonald to provisionally agree to the proposed subdivision for 37 Old Route 7, application Z-20-21, noting the commission's comments and concerns as follows. Concern over the ability for large fire truck access and turnaround, and being assured that this project keeps in character with the adjacent town center district with lighting and sidewalks. The motion was seconded by Mel Buteau and carried unanimously. Please feel free to contact me should you have any questions regarding the matter. Thank you. And that's all I had. Does anybody have anything else?
Oh, that's it. All right, so next is the applicant's presentation, which you have 45 minutes to present.
Good evening. For the record, Steve Sullivan from CCA Engineers. Mr. Chairman, is there a way you could share my screen or share the screen with me so I can show the plans at all? Or?
Yeah, Alice can.
Yes. I already made Steve a co-host.
Okay.
You should be
You're
able
a
to
co-host,
share it.
Steve, so you should be
Yep,
able to
okay.
share your screen.
Here we go.
There you go. You got the power.
All right. Okay. So this is 37 Old Route 7. It's located on the east side of Old Route 7. This is the existing grass median that was mentioned earlier. The site is wooded. It's 1.81 acres in the TCD perimeter overlay zone. There is a wetland area located here. Can everyone see the cursor?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And moving on to the layout. So we are proposing 6 duplex buildings, so 12 single-family home units. So they'll just be attached by one common wall. Access would be each tenant would have a individual driveway to their garage off of the Old Route 7 road. The way the site is graded, I did meet with Ralph Tedesco after I received his email. We met out in the field. And I explained to him that the way the site is graded, everything is graded to shed off to the east. So from Old Route 7 between the buildings, which would be grass areas. And then it's collected into our on-site stormwater management system, which is a detention basin and also a groundwater recharge volume basin. And he was okay with that. We will be repaving this section of the roadway. As I get into this presentation, we're going to be extending the water main, which I'll show you in a second. But the regulated area that we've proposed for this site has been approved by the Inland Wetlands Commission. I think it was early January when they finally approved the plan. So this is our utility plan. As I just mentioned, we are proposing to extend the water main, which is currently at the intersection right here. There's an existing hydrant. We're going to extend it south all the way to the end of the property. Each unit will have its own service lateral to that water main. And there's a proposed hydrant located right here for additional fire protection in this area. Also, we are currently in front of the WPCA, and we're proposing to extend the sewer main that's located along Fellow Road, up Laurel Hill Road, and then into our property. The units will be served by lateral out the back of the property. And our next meeting with them is in 2 weeks. Let's see here. Just bear with me a second while I get these. So we are proposing sidewalks, new sidewalks along the site frontage, Old Route 7, around the corner and down to down Laurel Hill Road to the end of the property, which is right in this area here. Also, we're proposing 5 streetlights, which would be match the specifications of the town center district. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And also we have 7 canopy street trees located along the site frontage. In the back, we had some additional plantings that were requested by the Wetlands Commission. So there's some wetland plantings located in here and additional canopy trees located in the back corner. So we did receive, and also a fire truck could maneuver up around Old Route 7, down Old Route 7 and around the island. We did check that maneuvering. It's wide enough that they can make this turn and come out. Way back in the beginning when we had our pre-application meeting with everyone, the applicant was offering to maintain this grass island. We feel it's a good feature for the residents in this proposed development. The applicant would be willing to maintain that area if an agreement could be made with the town. From a site perspective, that is essentially it. We do have some representatives from the applicant's office. If there's questions about the proposed units, I know we did submit some elevation views of the units, or the homes, I should say. 2-story homes. They'll have a basement and a garage in the garage at a front entry. So I guess I can open up to some questions at this point from the commission.
Is it a single garage or a double?
That is a single garage.
So each unit will have a single garage?
Correct.
What's the square feet of living space?
I think I'll defer that to Joe Enright. Is he on the call? Or
Hey.
Paul Scalzo, are you?
Yeah, I'm here, Steve.
Oh, Joe, okay, yeah.
Units are gonna be anywhere from 12 to 1,500 square.
Joe, for the record, can you give your name and address?
I'm sorry. Joseph Enright, 6 Farm Road, Sherman, Connecticut, 06784.
And what was the square footage, Joe, again?
Anywhere from 12 to like 1,500 square foot units
Okay,
for
So-
the first and second floor.
so none, are all these units the same or are these units different?
But they're all have been designed to be the same with, as a 2 or 3 bedroom unit.
So, but you're not sure if they're gonna be 1,200 or 1,500 yet?
Well, because there's going to be a optional room finished above the garage. Kind of, we'll have to show you the plans or get the plans to you.
Okay, so there's minimum of 1,200 to the maximum of 1,500 per each.
Correct.
Okay, are these units gonna be offered for rental or for sale?
The plan at the present time is for sale.
For sale?
Yes.
Any other members of the commission have questions?
If there is there for this is Kurt Timmerman, if they're for sale, would it be a condo style agreement among all the landowners there? Or
Yes, there would be a homeowners association
okay.
established.
Also, I'm assuming, but I guess I'll ask: is the electrical also going to be underground?
Yes.
Okay.
Any other members of the commission? I haven't looked at the outside. Is the outside of the building staying in compliance with the, I know you're not in the village district, you're in the outlier, but is it staying with the village district?
Steve, I just don't know what the details of the village district are. So
Let me see if I can pull up the renderings.
Yeah, there's a couple of renderings, both of the units themselves plus like 3 or 4 in a row. So it looks like the units are all lined up in that they're all, parallel. Though one of the renderings looks like some are rotated with respect to each other, but I guess that's minor.
Can everyone see this rendering now?
No.
No? Okay, hold on a second here. How about
Okay.
that?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think the applicant's chosen colors yet at this point. But it'll be architectural shingles and what kind of windows, Joe?
probably vinyl double hung style windows.
Okay,
And the siding is,
It's going to be a maintenance-free product. We haven't finalized exactly the style and stuff, but that's our plan is to maintenance-free exteriors.
Like hardy board, something like that.
No, I think it's probably going to be a vinyl, but we can get some information, some specifications to the commission.
I have a question about the memo that we received. In the previous screen, is to the, like,
Yeah.
when we're looking at it, to the left, that's where the neighbor's property is.
yeah, I'll get that back up here.
Thank you. I'm sorry. I've tried
That's
to
all
look at all the documents on my iPad and it's very difficult. I just
So
have a
that-
question.
yeah.
Why not extend the trees all the way down?
Well, there is some vegetation here.
Okay,
We felt we were kind of getting too close to this unit here.
okay,
These trees were positioned in this location to provide some shade over
okay,
our stormwater management area,
okay,
which we had discussions with the Wetlands Commission about.
okay. And where is their driveway? Is that all grass there or is that their, I mean, I'm trying to gather how close they are to the units.
Their driveway is right here. Can you see that?
Yes, thank you.
So it comes off and then into their site.
Okay, and then, so their house is not actually pictured here, that's all yard?
Yeah, I don't have that.
Okay.
But I mean, we did, it seems like most of the issues are well, it is actually, most of the issues are regarding the apartment house, which obviously we have no control over.
Yeah.
I know the applicant,
I know the
applicant shares the
on-
same concerns.
Yeah,
And they feel that once you have residents living here, they'll actually act as a quasi patrol, if you will, of the neighborhood.
right.
And I think we believe you'll see a decline in the loitering that's happening there now.
Well, yeah, Steve, that's why I asked that one question, whether they're gonna be rental or owning, because now these people actually have their own place that they want to keep and keep the land values up. So I think that kind of answered that one letter, that this is gonna be for sale, not for rental.
Yeah, even if it was rental, I mean, they're going to be a higher end rental price. So it's still going to be expensive, not expensive, but a higher end price to live in these units.
Do we know if the Gallagher property is going to be forced to connect to the water main that's being extended down the?
And they will not be forced to, no. That
Okay.
is, they could if they wanted to, but they will not be forced.
And you're paying out of your own pocket to extend it all the way down that far anyways, right?
Correct, yep.
Okay. So if someone wanted to hook up on it, it's just from there on down to them. They're not even getting a betterment assessment on your run.
So this property was already, this water main is actually owned by the town. So the applicant paid a assessment for this water main. I believe this extension would be deeded over to Aquarium Water Company. This section so if that person wanted to hook up, they would have to pay some monies towards the extension. And that's per Aquarium Water Company's rules and regulations.
But if they decide not to hook up to it, they don't have to pay for anything.
Right, correct.
Okay.
There's no
So in
forced
essence, it's
assessment.
almost a benefit if they should have a problem with the well or not. They might have to
Right.
pay money, but they
Right.
don't have to if they never hook up to it.
Right.
The property to the east, 730 Federal Road, is that?
Yep.
How large is that? Is that wetlands? Is that usable?
There's wetlands on that as well, and but there is a non-wetland area as you move further to the east, close to the Federal Road.
Do I have any other comments from the commissioners?
I just one question. Whose shed is that on the very left? Whose property? Is
That
on?
that is actually the Dockenhausen shed. That's an encroachment.
Oh, all right.
All right, does the audience have any questions of clarification? Going once, going twice. Alice, you see anybody? Does anybody want to speak in favor of this application? Alice, you see anybody?
No.
Does anybody want to speak against this application? Alice, do you see anybody?
Nope.
Is there anything else by any of the commissioners that they want to see or hear before? Do I have a motion to close?
I move that we close public hearing for 37 Old Route 7, that's Z-20-21.
Do I have a
Second,
sec? Do I have a second?
second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner.
You're welcome.
I'll log off now. Thanks.
All right, now we are on to a new public hearing. So this is for 11 Old Turnpike Road, application Z-20-27. Alice, do you know if the applicant's here?
I thought so. They were.
She's here.
Yes, I'm here.
She's here.
Okay. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and read the introduction to the public hearing. This is a regular meeting of the Brookfield Zoning Commission. At this point in our agenda, we have scheduled a public hearing concerning the application of Salvador Ordonez, application Z-20-27 for accessory apartment. The same commissioners that were here all through are the same ones and the same voting ones. We have the legal notice, which says the following public hearing will take place remotely via Zoom conferencing, meeting ID number 128-947-054. Please view the agenda for dial instructions to reach the land use office with any questions or concerns. Please call 203-775-73106. And this is for 11 Old Turnpike Road, Z-20-27, single family conversion for accessory apartment. At this hearing, interested persons may appear, be heard, and written communication will be received. Copies of proposal on file in the office of Brookfield Zoning Commission and online, dated in Brookfield, Connecticut, this April 29th, 2020 through May 14, 2020, Brookfield Zoning Commission. And this was put online. This application was formally received by the Commission on April 23, 2020. The public hearing is only one aspect of the approval process. It is for the purposes of accepting factual information and data bearing on this application and to allow expression of opinion by interested parties. Subsequent to this hearing, the Commission has 65 days plus an added 90 days if needed. And there's also more days added because of the new executive order in which to render a decision on this proposal. The final decision may be in the form approved as submitted, approved as stipulations, or denied. After reading into record the correspondence received by the Commission relative to this application, we'll ask the applicant to present the application in detail. The presentation will be limited to 45 minutes. The chair will then entertain questions of clarification concerning the application presentation. We'll hear from those who wish to speak in favor of the application, followed by those who are opposed. Comments must be limited to 5 minutes. Members of the public will have one opportunity to speak during the segment. During the segment of the hearing, may also submit their concerns in writing during the public hearing. During this segment, the commissioners may ask additional questions. Bylaws of this commission will allow only for the presentation of similar positions in succession and preclude the intermixture of comments pro or con. All questions and comments must be directed to the chair. As you are recognized, please state your name and address so your comments may be legally recorded. Please be assured that everyone will be given the opportunity to speak. However, the commission is most interested in hearing factual information relative to this application. In view of the time constraints placed upon us, we ask your indulgence not reiterating comments previously presented. After the public comments are received, the applicant will have the opportunity to comment, and the time will be limited to 10 minutes. Now we're going to read the correspondence. Mary, I got 3 letters. Can you read one so I just don't lose my voice?
No problem.
Choose whichever one you want to read.
I'll take the longest one for you.
Thank you.
It's from Kim Ramsey, and it was dated probably yesterday. It came through in one of the emails. It isn't dated on her thing right here, but it says, to whom it may concern. I would like to express my concerns in the application for an accessory apartment at 11 Old Turnpike Road, as I am a direct neighbor. She's straight to the north. 11 Old Turnpike Road appears to be already at a high census when it comes to occupants in the home. There are roughly 6 cars that come and go all hours of the day as early as 3 a.m. There are also 3 adolescent children that live in this home, along with approximately 8 white dogs on my last count, when they were all running around the yard as well as in the road unleashed. This home, with its construction debris in the yard, as well as a broken down truck on the side of the driveway and an unkempt RV in the yard, are already a concern for blight, especially the trash in the yard, as we are in a swampy area known for swamp rats. I already feel as though this home is an eyesore to the neighborhood and brings down the appraisal values of all properties nearby. I cannot imagine an accessory apartment wouldn't have a negative effect on home values in the neighborhood, as I myself would not buy a home in a neighborhood known to have apartments. Also considering to me is proof of a family member occupying the accessory apartment, as well as adding more cars and more people to the property, which in turn will continue to devalue the surrounding homes in the neighborhood. Where would more cars even park? When they look down the driveway, you see an eyesore, and more cars would only add to this. This home is already known for illegal burning of construction debris, as well as many complaints regarding noise ordinance violations. Adding more occupants to what appears to be already an over-occupied home concerns me that more zoning/noise and other town ordinance violations will come from this property. The record of non-compliance when it comes to legal burning, licensing of dogs, as well as noise ordinances makes me question the motive behind an accessory apartment in which these same owners would maintain compliance. I hope you'll consider my concerns to maintain a quiet, peaceful, and safe neighborhood when making your decision regarding an accessory apartment at 11 Old Turnpike Road. Thank you, Kim Ramsey.
Okay, next one we have is from Nicole Dratch, dated May 14, 2020. Zoning Commission. I've resided at 8 Old Turnpike Road for 14 years. It's been brought to my attention that the residents of 11 Old Turnpike Road are requesting a single-family conversion variance. Along with several other neighbors, I'm not in favor of such a request. Old Turnpike is a dead-end road of single-family homes, which by design limits the daily traffic and keeps up a nice, quiet neighborhood existence. The road ends abutting the lake with several high-dollar homes and 2 private communities. All this works to keep the property values in good standing. As this request is being made under Brookfield zoning regulation 3.16 accessory apartment for affordable housing, I have strong reservations against approving such a request. I believe this is in the best interest of the neighborhood. I appreciate your understanding and consideration of this matter. Thank you, Nicole Dratch. There's another one dated May 14, 2020, 7 and 10 Old Turnpike Road. To the Brookfield Zoning Commission. Our neighbor, 11 Old Turnpike Road, has requested a single-family conversion on this property. We abut this property on 2 property lines. Although we are not against the conversion on general principles, we do have some reservations about one for this property owner. In the last 2 years, there have been numerous issues for the neighborhood with the residents of this property. There have been frequent, almost weekly in the summer, large gatherings, outdoor parties with loud music, and a DJ with speakers, and a large number of cars parking on the street. They have 3 dogs which roam unattended and are often in the road and on other people's properties, as well as numerous roosters and chickens that roam freely around the neighborhood. We're concerned that additional people living in the house could increase the problems, especially the parking and noise issues. We're also concerned about how the appropriateness of the inhabitants of the apartment would be overseen. Thank you for considering negative impact on neighborhood of these issues. Sincerely, Pamela Stevens and Jeffrey Stevens. And there was another letter sent in right before this meeting. And that is to Fran Lally, Thursday, May 14, 2020 at 6:30 p.m. to Eric Cook for Zoning Commission. From Elsa Matthew at 150 Candlewood Lake Road, Brookfield, Connecticut. I received a letter from a neighbor, name and address listed below, regarding a change of dwelling from a single family to a single family with an apartment. Based on the amount of structures that this neighbor has already built on his property to keep chickens, roosters, ducks, and turkeys, along with the gazebo, most recently a raised structure, purpose unknown, as on the board of the wetlands, I do not give my consent for this change. The name of owner, Salvador Ordonez, address 11 Old Turnpike, Brookfield. I went to the town hall today and saw the offices were closed due to the virus, so I called in and was given an email to send my response in lieu of the letter. I do not know if permits were obtained to build all the structures, but even if they were permitted by the town, I think there's way too much going on as is. I do not want my property to be devalued going forward. Thank you. Does anybody else have anything else that I'm missing for notice? No? Okay. So the applicant, please state your name and address for the record and present your application.
Paula Damasino, 29 Morris Street, Danbury, Connecticut. I'm representing Salvador Ordonez. Salvador bought the property already with the apartment, so he's just trying to legalize the apartment that he has in his current house. Currently, his sister is living there, Nympha Fajardo, and they're planning to keep her there. They just want to legalize the apartment because soon they're going to file for an addition to the house. They're taking care of all the part of the survey, wetlands, to apply for a new addition. So for that, they wanted to legalize the apartment.
Okay, and you said it was pre-existing?
Yes.
Fran,
Yes,
does this all meet our regulations?
it does. Pre-existing non-conforming. It's been there for a while. I don't have anything on record. I did look in the file, but I do remember getting a complaint about it a few years back. I did go out to the property. I spoke to the woman who I believe was the property owner at the time, and she indicated to me that the apartment wasn't being rented. But again, this was a few years ago, and it was all done by just telephone complaint.
It meets our size regulations.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. For the commissioners, does anybody know where 11 Old Turnpike Road is?
Yes.
Okay, I happen to grow up next to this house. So I know this house very well, and I knew when the Abramos owned it back in the 80s. And during that time, that apartment was actually in there, whether or not it was being used or not. So this apartment's been there for about 40 years, 30 years. On that road, there is another apartment. There's an apartment at the at 8 Old Turnpike Road, which was I think was one of the letters that were written. And there's also a 2-family house down on 23, a legal 2-family house down, I believe, around 23 Old Turnpike Road. So there are already apartments and actually a 2-family home on that street. This property too is set, I believe, about 100 yards off the road. So my concern, though, which isn't having to do with this application, is that if they're not following by other zoning rules, then I think we need to look into that separately. So if they're not permitted by our zoning statutes to have the chickens and the roosters, I don't think we can consider that for this application. That should be under a different type of zoning enforcement. Would you agree with that, Fran?
Yes, I do. Totally.
So, I mean, everything else meets our guidelines with this. They're not adding on right now to the house. It's been there for a long time and they're just utilizing it. To me personally, I'd rather see somebody come here and give us the affidavit and do it in the right manner than just do it anyways. Any other comments from commissioners?
I agree. I guess just clarification, though one of the letters talked about affordable housing, this isn't under that statute. It seems to be under the family member.
Correct.
No,
This
yeah,
is a family member. It's not under affordable. That was a miswrite.
And the second question I had was regards to ownership. If the ownership was transferred, was it transferred within the same family, or is it an entirely different group of people living there? Just curious.
I'm not aware that the ownership was transferred.
Didn't you just say she just bought the house?
No, when they bought the house, they already had the apartment.
Oh,
So it
so
was
that
a few
was
years ago.
how long?
2 years ago.
Oh, 2 years ago.
Yeah.
All right.
That apartment I know personally because I've been in that house when I was a kid. That apartment's been there for at least, I don't want to date myself, but 30 something years. Regardless if it was being used or not, or in the town, I know that those walls were pre-existing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a problem with it because of the drawings now. It meets all our requirements, so that's fine to make it legal,
It's contained in the house. I wish the applicant was here because I would like to ask him about the other possible zoning violations that I think that, Fran, we might have to take a look at.
I will tomorrow.
Okay, I mean, but that has nothing to do with the application we're hearing before us, but it does raise concerns that if they're not abiding by our zoning regulations, then we do need to go ahead and enforce those.
Yep, I will investigate tomorrow.
Fran, keep me posted because like I said, we're gonna file for an addition. I want to make sure that they are meeting all the zoning requirements and that.
Okay.
So
Well,
I
I'll
have
be in
to
the
talk to
office tomorrow. You can give me a call tomorrow.
you. Okay, will do.
Do I have any other comments right now from any other commissioners?
Yeah, the only other thing is, we just passed the 2 parking spaces for the accessory apartment. They have to be allocated. And then there's no more than 6 cars allowed. So just to be cognizant of those extra rules.
Okay.
Well, I think one of the letters says that there's 6 cars going in and out. And I believe that person's already living there. So it sounds like they're gonna meet the 6 cars.
Yeah.
And like I said, this property has a very, very long driveway. Where it's really abutting is a nursery, which there happens to be a nursery in this residential zone. So I know that there's bobcats running up and down there along the side of that property. It's a very, very interesting property in a residential zone. Is there anybody in the audience that has any questions or clarification? Alice, you see anybody? Is there anybody that wishes to speak in favor of this application? you see anybody? Is there anybody that wishes to speak against this application?
Nobody.
Okay. Do I have a motion to close?
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing for 11 Old Turnpike Road, application Z-20-27.
Do I have a second?
Second,
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
aye.
All right, I'd like to make a motion to approve application Z-20-27 for the accessory apartment as presented.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Aye, congratulations. It was approved, but let the owner know that our zoning enforcement officer is going to be checking in to the other issues that the neighbors raised.
We're gonna take care of everything that's not compliant. Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right, now we are on to 439 Candlewood Lake Road, application Z-20-33. Is the applicant on? Alice, do you see if the applicant's on?
439,
In here.
no, there's just a Galaxy Note 10 Plus, but I don't know who that is. Everybody else is not related to that situation.
All right, should we go forward with this tonight if the applicant's not here?
No.
Okay. Let's
We
go
need a
on to,
motion to move it to May 28th? Or can we just skip it?
if we just skip it,
Continue
it
it?
just goes on to May 28th, right?
Yeah.
Okay. We'll just go ahead and skip it since they're not here. So it automatically come on to May 28th because it's not a public hearing.
Yeah, I think you want to say continue it instead of skip it.
All right, we're
Well,
gonna
I make a motion to continue 439 Candlewood Lake Road, Lavuva Restaurant, application Z-20-33 to our next scheduled meeting.
have a second.
Second,
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
aye.
Let the applicant know, Fran, to try to be here next time to present.
I will, definitely.
All right, so now is on to the big one, the zoning regulations as per executive order as per the town of Brookfield. So is everybody up on everything that's going on with the state of Connecticut as it refers to restaurants and retail shopping with open space?
Yes.
All right, so there is two executive orders. There's one by the town of Brookfield, and then there's one which just got put into effect yesterday from the state of Connecticut, Ned Lamont, which is executive order number 7 Mike MM. And under that executive order, it gives the zoning the ability to suspend regulations, all or any or none. So it's up to the zoning regulations if we want to suspend something so that people can maybe put up tents, use parking lots for selling meals, because you can't sell right now until at least June 20th that they're thinking any inside restaurant. So it looks like right now, come June 20th, they might reopen it up. We're not sure how much. We know it's going to be at partial. Restaurants are now making an argument to Ned Lamont to open up June 3rd partially. Not sure if it's going to work or not, but that's why we're only doing this until our next meeting, or not to our next meeting, but to the meeting in
July 9th.
July.
July 9th, right? So that we're giving them enough time, but if something should happen, we can come back and revisit. So if on June 20th, they reopen up a good portion of the inside, then we can go ahead and end it in July, or we can limit it, modify it, do whatever we want. So instead of saying we are going to suspend our zoning regulations, we're going to say we're only going to suspend right now 7.1, which is our temporary events. And then we're going to give the power basically to approve or deny to Fran, to the police chief, to the fire, and to building and health on whether or not those tents, outside dining, whatever they want to do, works.
You guys are not helping. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm yelling at my kids.
Eric, Mr. Chairman,
Yeah.
can I suggest that the building department is also involved?
I thought I said the building
He said
department.
Did you say building? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I missed that. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah, so we have all of them going through. So there's no need. We don't feel like there's any need. And I obviously I need to hear from the rest of the commissioners. We think it would be too hard. Well, for us too, because we would have to start holding meetings every night to basically hear every applicant that comes forward, whether or not to put it on. So I think it's best for us just to put what we have in this application permit and then allow our zoning enforcement officer, Fran Lally, to go ahead and sign off on these. So we're not signing off on every one of them. That is us suspending that for this time. Usually if someone wants to come for a special event, we have to vote on it and we have to decide. That gave us the control. So what we're suggesting is to not come before this commission until at least July, what was it, 14th?
9th.
9th, see, I always get it wrong, to July 9th. And then July 9th, we determine if we want to extend it, modify it, or return back to our regulations. So we're not modifying our regulations, we're just suspending 7.1. And also for temporary events, as specified in section 6.2, and outdoor dining is specified in 6.9B, 4.2A, 8-D. So we're not modifying, changing, we're suspending.
Yep.
Does everybody agree?
I do. I agree with that because if you look at the executive order from the town, it covers all the zoning regulations, and that's pretty wide. And so this narrows the scope, which we think makes sense. And if someone has something where they find, yes, we need to do a different, chapter or section, then I think that we do need to hear that and have them convince us that that does make sense and come in front of the
Yeah.
commission for it.
And as you guys know, we brought this up the last meeting 2 weeks ago. So I'm actually proud of this commission because we had the forethought to do this. And I'm seeing already on the news and in other things that there's a lot of zoning boards that aren't ready for this and people want to open up on the 20th. So I commend this board for actually thinking about it prior and us working on it. And as a matter of fact, as we were working on it, we were doing it before the government's executive order came out and we nailed it, right, Kurt? The only thing that we had was missing was the executive order was coming out. We predicted what they were going to do. And so we were ready to go for it.
Yeah.
So everybody got to read it. Is there any questions or concerns with it?
Kurt, this is Alice. One thing that Fran and I were thinking of adding to the temporary event application.
Oh, can't do that. Just kidding.
What? Would be, it says zoning enforcement officer, fire marshal, police, health director, and we should add building.
Building?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and you mentioned the fire department too, right?
That's on there,
Fire
fire
marshal.
marshal.
Oh, is it? So
Yeah.
I added in the resolution, this is what I have: health director, building department, fire department, and chief of police. In addition to the ZEO.
Wait,
Right,
read
so
that
I
list
think
again?
this covers it all.
Health director,
Yep,
building department,
yep.
fire department,
Mhm.
and chief of police.
Okay, it should be fire marshal, actually.
Oh, all right.
That sounds good.
Oh, and the one I had, I didn't have fire marshal.
No, I just added, you can't see my screen.
Okay. And then, just add MM to
Yes.
that last reason, executive order 7, Mike.
Yep.
All right, do you want to make
Sorry,
this? resolution?
Eric, could I bring up one more thing? There's been a new request by the governor to have approval. What is that called, Fran? Some sort of certification badge?
Certification?
Oh, yeah.
The self-certification, which I know me and Eric talked about today with
Okay,
First Selectman Dunn too. So
Yeah.
Right, they can go online and,
They can
Yep.
self-certify.
yeah.
okay, so it doesn't need to be on our agenda or anything.
I don't believe so.
I would think the director of health would be overseeing that right there or sending that out. I know Lisa Yu, who is one of the assistant sanitarians, she's been actively involved notifying everyone what the procedures are, how they need to follow everything. So I'll reach out to Lisa either later tonight or tomorrow and make
Well-
sure that this gets out to all the individuals.
By
Basically,
all means,
still
things are
self-serve.
changing every day.
I'm sorry?
By all means, things are changing every day. So
I know.
the applicant needs to follow whatever new executive orders come out.
Yeah.
And I already told Fran and Steve Dunn that if for whatever reason we need to have an emergency meeting or a meeting, I am almost positive that we can get 3 of us together on a night so that we can do a vote and pass anything that needs to. We're here to do anything we can to get these businesses open and running, and whatever the full amount that the state will allow them. So everybody agrees with that. We can have a meeting and we can at least render up 3 or rustle up 3 of us.
Absolutely.
Is Alice, I'm sure Russell's not the right word, right?
Wrangle.
Well, I think that's proper.
Convene.
To pick your adjective.
Is there anything else we need to discuss before, Kurt, you read that resolution in and vote on it? Alice? Going once, going twice? All right. Fran? No, never mind. All right, go ahead, Kurt.
I'd like to make a motion to have a resolution of approval, the COVID-19 executive order resolution of approval dated May 14th, 2020. Be it resolved that the zoning commission approves the below executive orders and implements them as follows. Suspension of strict compliance to temporary events regulations as they pertain to temporary events in section 7.1 and signs for temporary events as specified in section 6.2. And finally, outdoor dining as specified in section 6.9B and 4.2A.8.d. That the zoning enforcement officer may use their discretion to each business on a case-by-case basis with the assistance of the health director, building department, fire marshal, and chief of police where necessary to issue a permit for a temporary event and related sections as per above. Such suspension shall be effective from May 20th, 2020 through July 9th, 2020, or later if the commission so decides. The reasons in granting this approval, the commission acknowledges that first, the proposed regulation changes to address the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic on local businesses and to assist them with temporary events. Second is in response to the town of Brookfield's executive order opening businesses dated 2020 May 5th. And it's also is in response to the state of Connecticut executive order 7MM as it relates to the modification of zoning regulations as it pertains to commercial enterprises. Be it approved on May 14th, 2020 at Brookfield, Connecticut for the Brookfield Zoning Commission.
And before we vote on this, I just would also like to add, first off, thank you, Kurt, for everything you did, for helping on this, Alice, Fran, and I spoke at length with the fire marshal, the police chief, and Steve Dunn, and everybody was way more than helpful, and everybody was on board with this. And even though as busy as they are, they said that they would personally go out to each location to do their sign-offs and look at it. So I just want to, before we vote into this, I just want to thank everybody that was involved in the entire town for coming together for our businesses and coming up with this order that everybody agrees will work for us. So thanks to everybody. Do I have a motion? Well, there was a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right. And Fran, did you want to talk about C at all? Or you're just going to put it on there every week so we know what's going on?
I'm sorry, I missed what you said, Eric. I'm sorry.
Just do you want to talk about C? Because we're not going to vote on any of those because you're going to have that. So did you just want to discuss what C is going to be? That you're going to just let us know every time?
I will. As of right now, I have 2 applications in for temporary events. Puccinella, who's actually submitted the application. We're tracking it through our viewpoint system, as is Hacienda. Puccinella has a tent up. Hacienda has informed me that it's not his intention right now to do a tent. He just wants to do outdoor dining. He's going to be opening up part of the parking lot. Chief of police is involved. The chief did have a couple of questions with regards to barriers. if we have a set standard for barriers, and I indicated no. We don't have anything in writing that says how a barrier's got to be to protect vehicles from driving into it. And he wasn't happy with Hacienda's plan, which I haven't talked to Edgar yet. Still waiting to get a hold of him with regards to it. But since the 2 applications have come in, I have been contacted by numerous restaurants. The Golden Leaf up at towards the New Milford line, Franco's tonight, I was there. I've been contacted by John's Best, who wants to do a pavilion outside. I told them, unfortunately, this order does not allow that to happen. If they're looking to do a structured pavilion, they need to go to zoning and ZBA, because it's going to be a permanent structure, not a temporary structure, as to what the governor's order is allowing. Also, Pyology and also Hummus and Pita, they want to do a joint one down there with tents in the parking lot. So it's been actively busy. I am moving forward. It's busy. That's all I can really say. It's a handful. It's something new, I guess, that we're trying to resolve and figure it out. It's new for me too. So, just one step at a
We
time, and obviously,
appreciate,
I'm
Fran,
sorry.
we actually appreciate you doing all this.
Yep.
And taking your time that I know you have a lot of, to go out and help these businesses. And, you're got to be the one that's speaking for us now
Yeah.
on these.
So thank you. But that's about it. I will keep the commission up to date. If the commission wants a weekly update, I can do that as to what's going on. And I don't have a problem sending an email to everybody, giving
I
everybody.
would like that.
Yeah, this way everybody knows what's going on.
I would
Yeah,
reach
this
out.
way,
to-
if the commissioners are driving around, stop into these places and see if this is what we were thinking, because we can always come back and redo it if there's something that, because everybody's jumping into this real quick. We might have forgotten something. If we need to do something, we can have a special meeting and we address it.
Yep.
I would reach out to Del Primo, because something on their Facebook, they're showing they're going to do something in that little courtyard or area. So I think they're planning to do it, but they might not have known about the temporary permit.
Well, Del Primo actually has approval, and they have a patio permit already. So,
Good.
so they're actually one step ahead of everybody. So they're one of the few. But it
Are
was good that the-
people, are they asking about signage? Because I happened to drive by Five Guys today and I saw they had a lot of signs in the parking lot for deliver or pickup, customer parking, and they were clearly handmade signs. So I was wondering if that's a common thing you're seeing, or.
It is, and I think that the governor put a lift on those too. That
Yeah.
if I recall right, seeing something about the signage.
Well,
That
he really didn't, Fran. He left it off to us as towns
Yeah,
to do that. So, and I think what we talked about, Leslie, we talked with Fran, is like, this is going to be very hard to police
Yeah, for
and to
sure.
put something in there. So basically, Fran's got to go, hey, listen, if it doesn't look right, let me go talk to the owner. We want to be lenient, but we don't want people to be abusive.
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I've seen numerous signs like Puccinell on Federal Road. They've had numerous signs out, small yard signs. You know what? If it's not creating a hazard, to the public health and safety, the welfare of the public. I mean, I don't have a problem with them right now. I don't want to, discourage anybody more than they've already been through all this. So.
Absolutely. No, I don't have an issue with it. I just wanted to make clear that I was
Yeah.
curious if you're seeing a lot of that.
Oh, I am seeing them. Yeah. And I do leave them. I mean, the only signs I'm still picking up right now are the typical landscaper signs or seaweed removal that I see on the telephone poles. But otherwise, anything for fast food or restaurants, I leave up for now. So.
Even wavy guys,
Say again?
even the wavy guys that are in front of,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I see. I don't think the wavy guys
I
should
mean,
be out
well-
there. They're not really promoted. They're not a sign that says come in and eat.
I'm almost afraid it's going to fall into the federal road.
Although, I mean, I am seeing I did see feather flags. I know John's Best has a feather flag out and Twins Barbecue has a feather flag out. So I'm not sure if the commission wants to take action on those or.
I'm
wait
going
till
with
we
your
see
best
those.
judgment, Fran. The rest of the commission can decide. You go with your best judgment. What you just said, if it doesn't interfere with the public and safety, let it go right now and just use your judgment.
Yeah, okay.
I agree, because it sounds like you're gonna be pretty busy.
I am.
I don't want you to kill yourself. So if it's not awful, ugly, not unsafe.
Right.
Yeah, so.
Otherwise, you'll also be very hated.
Yeah, and I know I don't want to do that. I want to work. I want to work with the public. You have to. You
Yeah,
know?
you're their lifeline back.
Yeah. You got to work with them, not work against them. So.
All right, so we done with that? I'll make a motion to go back to 4A, 887 Federal Road, application Z-20-15. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
I,
All right, so, Fran, Kurt, you were out here more. I went out to the property with Frank, so I've seen it, but you know more. So I want to hear you lead this off.
I think with making sure there's trees on the north side to protect that property, whether it's that neighbor now or if it's sold in the future, and that fence in the back. I think those two things really protect those two areas for screening and everything. So the south, those trees, since most of them are not even on this property, can't really do anything about it. And since they're going to stay anyway, I think, and looking at the building itself, it looks like a pretty decent building. I look at the lighting plan, they pick the right sort of lights to make sure it doesn't spill over into the neighbor's yard. And the privacy fence will help on that eastern side too.
Yeah.
So the applicant's done everything, he's listened. He's eager to, make sure he does what we want him to do and to protect the neighbors. So I think, looks pretty good at this point.
And when I walked with Frank, I was impressed with the kind of depression of the property, so that I realized that even though it's so high, it's still lower on the property because of the way the property goes in. So that made me happy to at least see. So it's not so tall as what the building suggests, because it's kind of in a little bit of a depression.
Oh yeah, it might be 3 floors, but one of them's under below grade. Yeah.
Yeah. Any other comments from any other commissioners?
no, it sounds like he's been trying to work with everybody involved, trying to work things out.
Yeah, he's been keep on coming back to our Zoom meetings. So yes, and he's been working with us. Kurt, because of those trees things, can you make this motion?
Sure. I make a motion to approve 887 Federal Road, application Z-20-15, a design review to construct a 6,063 square foot mixed-use building with associated parking, with the following stipulations. That an agreement with a neighbor on the north line regarding the planting of screening trees, agreeable type to both, but not including hemlocks because of the hemlock adulie deluge, the bad bug. Leodelid.
Delgin.
Yes, it's such a hard word. On the neighbor's property, memorialized by a letter. Second stipulation, a 6-foot privacy fence atop the retaining wall on the eastern property line. And third, to mark the 2 trees for removal in the southeast portion of the property as per the neighbor's request to the east.
I don't have anything extra to add on that. So do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Congratulations, sir.
Congratulations.
He's still there.
Thank you.
All right. Now B will be right in line. So let me just do it right way. I'll make a motion to move. Someone say something? I heard a squeak. Okay. Make a motion to move to 4B, 37 Old Route 7, application Z-20-21. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Fran, on this, we have everything that we need from fire, and I saw everything from fire and all that. Was there any concerns from the zoning enforcement? No?
No, it's cut and dry. So
It does seem cut and dry, and I mean, there's so many uses for that property.
there
I'm
is.
kind of glad to see it's actually, a two-family. I don't think it's an overburden of that property.
No,
Matter of fact, I think it adds in a nice little, what's the word I'm looking for?
Nice neighborhood. It'd
It,
be a nice little neighborhood there.
well, yeah, and you have an apartments kind of on one side, so transition. I can't believe I can't remember that word. I think it's a nice transition into into that area to go forward. So I actually think the project seems pretty good. Any other commissioners?
No,
Um,
they're very cute. I think it's charming and it fits in. I think it'll be nice.
Yeah, those, I've seen houses, those Western, the modular homes made by them, and Westchester Modular. And
Westchester, yeah.
I've seen a few of them up at the Cape and down here, and they're well built. They're nice looking.
Yeah, I like the architecture on those. Because I see where the garage was, over the garage, but then on the side was another like little bonus room that stuck out that give it really nice architecture. I'd like to actually see more of that.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Mr. Chairman, it is a good use of the property, and I think that's what the intent was of the commission when we did the overlay.
Yeah.
Was to bring this kind of development into that, southern area of the TCD. So,
Right, because we're looking at not overbuilding, but we're still looking at density on the area. That's why we did that overlay.
yes,
And I think that is the perfect use and what should keep going on down there. I would like to see that.
no, I agree.
and I have to agree with the applicant or what Steve Sullivan said that I think people moving in there will police the area. If you only have one house back there trying to fight the tide, it's much less effective than if you have, 12 more homeowners, who will patrol the area in essence just by their presence there.
Right, and it's 3 bedrooms, 15 to 1,800 square feet, so they're decent size. And it's a great transitional place to go to a bigger house if you need one later, but, all right, do I have a motion then?
I'm making a motion to approve, hold please. 37 Old Route 7, application Z-20-21, design review for 12 multifamily residential units with associated driveways, et cetera.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, I think that's it, right, Fran?
Ooh.
You're muted, Fran.
That's it.
Okay, is there anything that any of the other commissioners or Fran or Alice you need to talk about?
No, I just wanted to mention one thing. What I'll do is I'll reach out to Attorney Marcus tomorrow and ask him to be available for the May 28th meeting for that 19A Elbow Hill Road. I would suggest if commissioners are out, just take a drive by. You don't have to go into the property, but you can't miss it. So, and that's
Yeah,
it's a residential property.
It kind of sticks out.
Yeah. In the meantime, I'll take some more pictures and I'll send them to the commission. So. everyone-
Okay, and I think we've really went through the heaviest of our agenda. I don't think that May 28th agenda is gonna be that heavy.
No.
So I appreciate everybody's patience tonight. Tonight was a long meeting and we actually got a lot done, especially in response for the businesses. So.
Question,
Fran,
Eric,
I do want to
one
applaud
question.
you for everything you've been doing.
Eric, if
Yeah.
the gentleman from Sherman, when asked, are these going to, on Old Route 7, if these are going to be rentals or owned houses, he said the plan was that these were going to be sold, not rentals.
Correct.
If that plan changes, does that change the complexion of what we just voted on?
No,
Okay.
no, because at the end of the day, if he wants to hold 2 and sell 4 or 6, he can. But at the, what comes to it though, is he's really, whoever the owner is going to be controlled by the bank, because a mortgage company is going to want, so somebody's going to come in and get a mortgage on this. If he wants to sell 1 and retain the rest, they're going to be very hard to get a mortgage, because a mortgage company doesn't want to see a whole bunch owned by one person.
Mhm.
So then it becomes almost unmortgageable. So it's kind of like almost the industry will control that. So maybe in the beginning, he rents a couple and then sells, but he's probably gonna want to sell them so they can be resold, if you know what I mean.
Sure, sure. The other aspect I was wondering about was the Gallagher's concern with the loitering in that area, that if it all became rentals, even though they may be higher priced rentals, does that validate their concern that they wrote to us about?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Because, you know, we're talking about in condos, you have a whole bunch that be renting out, even if they're by the owner.
Mm-hmm,
And we don't have problems in those condos, which they even have as higher end as this of
mm-hmm.
loitering. Am I
Okay.
right, Fran?
Yes, yeah. And if they're loitering, it becomes more of a police issue, police matter than it does anything else, you know?
Okay, okay.
So-
I think
The way
there's a
it looks-
greater chance. I'm sorry, Mary, go.
Yeah, the way it looks now, where it just kind of looks desolate, kind of weedy, overgrown area with almost no one living there except the Gallaghers, it kind of lends itself to loitering. Once
Sure.
there's houses there,
Yeah,
it wouldn't be a place you'd want to loiter.
okay.
You know, it's, they mentioned having a smoking area, but I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Fran, that since that's federally funded, they don't allow smoking on that property.
Oh, the one over, yes, you're right, correct, yes. You are correct.
So that's an issue, you know. Maybe the town could put a little smoking area in. Or,
Well, it's been a problem over at the cleaners too, because they were using the cleaners property to go smoke
Well, yep.
and they got mad at that. So now they've moved down the street. Pretty soon they'll be in, Siberia smoking.
Well, yeah, because we have that, remember that new place we passed, what was it, 2 months ago? The one that has the Asian restaurant down below? Where Subway used to be.
Oh, okay.
That's,
Oh,
that's,
yeah,
those are
Brooklyn Village.
those
Oh.
are market level units. That's
Right.
gonna police that up too.
Sure, sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think, like how we're doing this now, I mean, we kind of, when does our
Moratorium,
yeah, end?
I think July 21, I believe, I think.
Wow. So, for us as a town, I think it's very important to get market rent units into this because when our moratorium ends, we don't know what can happen.
Mm-hmm,
So I like passing stuff like this because this property, if it wasn't done this property in like a year or two, if we can't get a moratorium or something, we could have affordable housing, which then takes it really
yeah,
out of our Brookfield zoning except for safety and health issues.
mhm.
So I think this is a really good use of that property.
Oh, yeah, no, definitely, no.
Now, if we show we've done some more forward steps on affordable housing, can we reapply to get a new moratorium?
I
Yes,
believe that's the plan, I believe.
Yeah,
Right,
we
and that-
should be okay because I believe the Laurel Hill ones didn't fall within, I'm sorry. Brookfield Village didn't fall within the first moratorium, so they can be added to the new one. So I think we'll be able to meet the qualifications.
and then Mary, the whole reason too, why we also, like these apartments that come in or the ones if you don't have a relative, you can make them affordable, was to just add to our affordable count too, because you don't have to get to there. You just have to get a certain percentage higher and then we could throw another moratorium on because we're working towards it.
Right, you have to show you're making progress.
Right. So, and meanwhile, hopefully, other builders come in and do what this applicant just did, because I think that's great for the town. That just took up, how many acres was that?
1.8?
1.82, so almost 2 acres there. Good. Any other discussion or anything, any other concerns? Leslie, I know you want to make this motion. I can see it on your face.
A motion to adjourn. I gotta go
Do I have
yell
a
at my
second?
kids some more.
Do I have a second?
second,
Any discussion? All in favor?
All
Aye.
good.
Good night, everybody.
Good night,
Good night.
good night.